Luke 16. And he also said to his pupils, there was a certain rich man who had a manager, and he was accused to him as wasting his possessions. So having called him, he said to him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, for you are no longer able to be manager. And the manager said within himself, what shall I do? For my aduni is taking the managership away from me. I am unable to dig. I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do, that when I am removed from the managership, they might receive me into their houses. And calling every one of his aduni's debtors to him, he said to the first, how much do you owe my aduni? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said to him, take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Then to another he said, and how much do you owe? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, take your bill and write 80. And aduni praised the unobedient manager because he had acted shrewdly, because the sons of this age are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light. And would I say to you, make friends for yourselves by unobedient riches, that when you fail, they shall receive you into everlasting dwellings. He who is trustworthy in what is least is trustworthy also in much, and he who is unobedient in what is least is unobedient also in much. If, therefore, you have not been trustworthy in the unobedient riches, who shall entrust to you the true? And if you have not been trustworthy in what is another man's, who shall give you what is your own? No servant is able to serve two adunim, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cling to the one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and riches. And the Pharisees, who loved silver, also heard all this, and were sneering at him. So he said to them, you are those who declare yourselves obedient before men, but Elohim knows your hearts, because what is highly thought of among men is an abomination in the sight of Elohim. The Turah and the prophets continue through John. Since then, the reign of Yahuah is being announced, and everyone is doing violence upon it. And it is easier for the heaven and the earth to pass away than for one tittle of the Torah to fall. Everyone putting away his asha and marrying another commits adultery, and everyone marrying her who is put away from her husband commits adultery. But there was a certain rich man who used to dress in purple and fine linen and lived luxuriously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Alazar, being covered with sores, who was placed at his gate, and longing to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Indeed, even the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to be that the beggar died, and was carried by the messengers to the bosom of Abraham. And the rich man also died, and was buried. And while suffering tortures in Sheol, having lifted up his eyes, he saw Abraham far away, and Alazar in his bosom. And crying out, he said, Father Abraham, have compassion on me, and send Alazar to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am suffering in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that in your life you received your good, and likewise Alazar the evil. But now he is comforted, and you are suffering. And besides all this, between us and you a great gulf has been set, so that those who wish to pass from here to you are unable, nor do those from there pass to us. And he said, Then I beg you, Father, that you would send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers. Let him warn them, lest they also come to this place of torture. Abraham said to him, They have Moshe and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, No, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they shall repent. But he said to him, If they do not hear Moshe and the prophets, neither would they be persuaded, even if one should rise from the dead.